All right, so I'm sure many of you brothers, like myself, have had personal experiences with cancer, whether it was you or a loved one, a family member, a friend, someone in your circle, someone who has cancer or who had cancer and passed away. The worst thing about cancer is there's no cure. There's no cure to cancer, but there are treatments. And the best treatment is an early diagnosis because early detection of cancer can help the doctor stop it from spreading around in your body. And if they're able to do that, you could live a long, happy, healthy life and die of another cause that's not cancer related. And unfortunately, in life, that trickles down to other things. You have people, sometimes hobbies or sometimes bad habits that you engage in that you really need to cut off that you don't cut off. And in the case of the Los Angeles Lakers, I thought and I believed that they would do so with Russell Westbrook, but they didn't. And now that cancer is just going to permeate through the locker room and permeate through the on-court play of the team, and it's going to cause damage. The Lakers are not going to be able to recover from this. The Russell Westbrook experiment is not going to work. It is not going to get better. They've seen enough. We've all seen enough. It will not work. And when you have LeBron James in press conferences saying, hey, we're not on the level of a Milwaukee Buck team, and we're not going to get to that level, you know it's all bad. So the trade deadline has officially passed, and the Lakers had an opportunity to get rid of Russell Westbrook, but they weren't going to get anything valuable. They were maybe going to get a John Wall who they were going to have to release or not even really give any minutes to because we haven't seen John Wall all season. And we know John Wall is very similar to Russell Westbrook in the fact that he doesn't play winning basketball. So they weren't going to get something valuable out of the Russell Westbrook deal, but they could have cut that off. And I do believe they should have did so. Now, I will say this. They did go to Portland without Russell Westbrook and lose to a Portland Trailblazer team that didn't have Dame or CJ on the court. And the worst part about it was it wasn't a blowout loss. They actually went down to the wire with Portland, and they just got out-executed by the Portland Trailblazers. LeBron in particular, LeBron got out-executed by Anthony Simmons and the Portland Trailblazers down the stretch. And that's embarrassing. That lets you know that this team is in turmoil and they're not getting out of it. It's going to take an offseason to fix this. It's going to take some moves to fix this. This was never going to work. And if you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you know I first guessed this after the first game of the season on opening night against the Warriors. When they lost to the Warriors at Staples Center, I called it that this was not going to work and that they would be better suited off trading Russell Westbrook or having Westbrook come off the bench. But he wasn't going to be willing to do that. And we all knew that. So they're going to talk about it and I'll chime in.
Well, the Lakers really don't have a choice, Skip. Once the trade deadline passed and Russ was still on their roster, what else could they do? He's not accepting pennies on the dollar. He's not going to let you buy him out for 85% of the money that he's owed. So that wasn't going to happen. Now the better question is, okay, are they going to, not ready to pull the ripcord this summer? I believe that's when they have the better option of getting off Russ. I just think a better question, Skip, do you believe the Lakers, LeBron Lakers, will send Russ, make Russ come off the bench? Which I do not believe, because then
he's not going to want to do that. Let me rephrase that. He's not going to do that because if you send him to the bench, he's going to make a commotion out of it. He was already in the press conference when they asked about him not playing late in games. He said he earned the right to play late in games. You don't earn anything. You have to update your resume.
I think Russ I'm not, bro. This is not me. I'm not doing that.
Agreed.
He had a problem. He let you get away with it one time. Skip, remember they benched him for the fourth quarter, and he's like, "Hey, we won." But the next time he came around, he was tapping AD and Braun on the head. "I'm sorry, I can't be out there with you." Frank made a decision. You see it.
They actually made a comeback. That was against the Milwaukee Bucks. They actually made a little bit of a comeback against the Bucks. They were down 30-something. They got it down to 10 at one point, and that was with Westbrook on the bench. So I don't know why Russ was tapping them on the head, acting like, I wish I could have helped y'all, but I didn't get to play. Yeah, when you weren't playing, that's when the team started playing good, bro.
Started to spill over.
And then the next game, he was mysteriously hurt.
His back tightened up.
And they lost anyway. The game that Skip's referring to was at Portland. They lost anyway. That's embarrassing.
Okay, go ahead.
So that's the thing, Skip. But you know what? I was thinking about this all last night, Skip. The problem is that Russ has not played well, and it's allowed us to fixate on Russ. But the guy that's been worse than Russ, you know who it is. You know who it is.
a quote-unquote GOAT has a new scapegoat.
You will not find.
LeBron always has somebody to bail out as far as receiving the blame and the criticism. Think about it. Everywhere LeBron goes, there's always someone who you can point to and say, oh, it wasn't LeBron's fault that they lost. It was this guy's fault. The reason why the Lakers suck is because LeBron and Russell Westbrook play the same style of basketball, and that's give me the ball and get out the way. And you can't have two guys on the court doing that because what's the other guy going to do on the court? Neither of them are good enough spot-up shooters, and neither of them are willing to be spot-up shooters, so it doesn't work. You can't have both of them on the court at the same time. And because both those guys like to get to the rim, it forces AD to stay on the perimeter. AD can't work in the post because those guys need spacing. And when AD's on the perimeter, he's just not as good. AD's jumper isn't as good as it used to be. For whatever reason, he's having a down season from behind the arc and from the deep mid-range. He's just not cashing them in. So
Find one Laker fan. You will not find one basketball analyst that said Anthony Davis. You said Anthony Davis was a top 5 talent, top 10 talent.
Coming into the year, he was surely ranked that way.
Has he played to the level of the
yeah, I had Anthony Davis after the year that the Lakers won the championship. I had Anthony Davis ranked as like the 5th or 6th best player in the NBA. I had him up there. Now it's like there's so many guys I'll take over Anthony Davis just because he's not doing what he used to do. He doesn't even have that drive. It feels like his body's still broken down from the injuries that he suffered in the bubble. He's weared out. And on top of that, he just doesn't have that drive. Ever since they won the ring, he got a little complacent, I feel like. But when they were playing the Phoenix Suns in the playoffs last season, that was all Anthony Davis. They were only going to win when Anthony Davis was on the floor. LeBron wasn't an impact player in that series against the Phoenix Suns. And it showed, because once AD was out, they started getting mollywopped.
The talent would suggest.
I don't think he's been Russ bad, but I think he's been not AD good.
But Skip, and the thing is, AD needs to be on a nightly basis. He needs to be first or second best player. There have been nights that he's been third or fourth best player. That's not good enough. But back to our originally scheduled programming, they're stuck with Russ, and that's what happens when you get a guy that only you, a championship contending team, which the Lakers believe they were. When you're the only one that wants a guy, it better work. Because nobody else that's in contending position is going to take him above you if he doesn't work for you. Because they're like, well, hell, he ain't working for you. How the hell you think he's going to work with us? He can't work with LeBron, a pass-first guy. Nah, AD goes out. So
LeBron has not been pass first this season. LeBron has been jacking him up this year. LeBron has not been pass first this year. I think he's averaging like 6 assists this season. LeBron has been trying to score. He's looked at this roster and he said, we're not getting the job done, so I'm going to chase after Kareem. That's what LeBron's been doing this season. LeBron has not been concerned with making Westbrook a better player or getting Westbrook as involved as possible. LeBron has been concerned with, this team ain't it, so I'm going to get mine.
So that's your opportunity. Okay, now it's you. He's been in this role a lot, Skip. He ain't capable.
This season is going to go down as LeBron in his 19th season in the NBA had the greatest 19th season ever. And LeBron had these stats in his 19th season. That's what this season is for the Lakers. That's all this season is. For everybody else, it's just a wash. You know, this season, they got nothing out of this season. But for LeBron, he gets that. That's all this season is for the Lakers.
AD, 1-2. He and James Harden, 1-2. He and Bradley Beal, 1-2. So now AD's out, you and Bron, 1-2. And it hasn't worked. It's not going to work. I didn't think it was going to work in the beginning. I said if it were to work, the only reason that it would was because of LeBron. Well, foolish of me, I was like, well, hell, KD couldn't make it work in a year, and KD was in his early 20s. How the hell LeBron going to make it work in his mid-30s? No, you're stuck. It ain't no pull the rip cord or Band-Aid or whatever terminology they want to use, Skip. When you get a guy like Russell Westbrook, it better work. Because guess what? You're not going to be able to get off him during the season. So they're stuck with him. They have no out. They have no other options. This is the rock. Hell, they don't got.
Shannon, I thought LeBron was your boy. You should have told LeBron this before the season. You know? You should have told Anthony Davis this before the season because I don't know what they were thinking to take Russell Westbrook over Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield would have been a perfect fit for this Laker team. You re-sign Alex Caruso and you get Buddy Hield. That would have been perfect for this team. That would have been perfect for this team. Alex Caruso gives you the defense on the perimeter. He knows how to play with LeBron. then you give Austin Reeves more minutes, and then you have Buddy Hield spreading the floor out. That would have been perfect for this team. I'm not saying they would have won a championship with those guys, but that would have been perfect for this team. You can't get rid of KCP and Alex Caruso. That was your defensive anchors on the perimeter. Even Kuzma. Kuzma gave you some good defense. Kuzma gave you a guy who wasn't afraid to go get it. But, Kuzma was replaceable. I'm not too mad at that. They got Malik Monk. Malik Monk can score even better than Kuzma. But KCP, Caruso, Buddy Hield, those were guys you needed to get.
Got anybody wants. Oh, what? Who? You want to trade Stanley Johnson? You want to trade Avery Bradley? DJ? Trevor Ariza? Who? Other than the big two. Who?
I feel like THT had a little bit of trade value to him before the season. Everybody was up on THT. He was a Summer League legend. But after this season, they got THT playing a little bit of point guard, dribbling the ball down the floor, and he's just turning it over. And he's not shooting well on the catch and shoot shots. And I think his trade value went down as well.
Who else or someone, Skip, they couldn't even trade Tucker. They was going to trade Tucker at a first-round pick. The team was like, nah, we good.
Exactly. Before the season, they would have did that, but not now.
So you got two guys, and you want to keep both of them. So you stuck not only with Russ, with the rest of this entire roster, unless you buy Kent Bazemore, you buy DJ, but you stuck with this. You stuck.
By the way, quick point of order, ESPN did report that at the trade deadline, they had a deal that was done for Christian Wood to come to the Lakers from Houston.
Yeah, they want to dump more salary. Lakers said nah.
They did not want, according to the ESPN report,
more
they
salary.
didn't want to go over the luxury tax.
Yeah.
Really? Wait a second. The Bus family?
No.
Led by now Jeannie Buss?
No.
Hey, if that's true, you have to pull the trigger. Christian Wood is a good young player. Christian Wood is a good young player. You could put him at the 5 since AD's scared to play the 5. You could put AD at the 4. Now that's 2 stretch big men. That helps take care of your shooting woes a little bit, and it helps take care of your defensive problems a little bit. So you had to do that. And it gets Westbrook out the way so LeBron can do his LeBron shit. They should have did that.
The daughter of Dr. Buss didn't want to go over the luxury tax?
We'll go. The Lakers will go over the luxury tax for Dame Lillard. They'll go over the luxury tax for Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. They ain't going no damn luxury tax for no Christian Wood.
You're not getting a Damian Lillard. You're not getting a Jason Tatum. I mean, maybe you can get a Damian Lillard, but it looks like Portland is building around Damian Lillard. It looks like they're getting all that cap space and everything, all those picks, and they're saying, hey, Dame, we're going to give you a shot. We're going to build the best we can around you. That's what it appears is going on in Portland. Now, I wouldn't be too surprised if there's one guy who the Lakers maybe could reach out and the league will help LeBron get a guy. The same way Adam Silver helped LeBron get AD, maybe they'll finesse some shit and get Damian Lillard on the Lakers. But I don't know. I think the league is kind of ready to see LeBron, head out, pack his bags. He can stay in the league and rack up the stats, but I don't think they're lining it up for him to win championships anymore. I think they're getting ready for the new guys, whether it's Giannis, whether it's giving Steph one more chance, whether it's Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, Trae Young, Luka. I think they're getting ready to get these new guys going. I think they're about done with the LeBron story. And every time you have a LeBron playoff series or a LeBron NBA finals, it gets less views than other finals get. It gets less viewers than other finals get. So I think the NBA is ready to move on with the LeBron James story. So I don't think that they're going to hook him up the same way they did with AD, because they hooked him up with AD. They said, all right, they forced the Pelicans. First off, they forced the Pelicans to give up AD. And then they gave the Pelicans the first overall pick. They gave the Pelicans Zion. And they for sure told them, hey, we'll give you Zion Williamson. Just get rid of AD. AD needs to go with LeBron. This is part of the plan, but you'll get Zion Williamson. And to the Pelicans' credit, it worked out for them. They look like the winners of it all because they got Brandon Ingram at the 3. They got Zion Williamson coming back at the 4/ at the 5. And they're building around. They got C.J. McCollum up there now. So the Pelicans look like they're going to be in better shape than the Lakers in about a season or two.
Well, if it would help, why not go?
Well, hell, he should help Houston.
Are you pinching pennies now in
No.
La La Land?
Well, he hadn't helped
I
Houston.
thought it was Hollywood. I thought it was the plunging Rams. They'll do anything.
No.
They're all in.
No. They
It's
did.
the all-out Lakers and the all-in Rams. I see.
But here's the thing, Skip.
The Rams have Jalen Ramsey in his prime. The Rams have Aaron Donald at his prime. The Lakers have concerns that AD is beat up. They have concerns that LeBron's not in his prime. That's the difference.
The Rams aren't plunging for just backup guys. They plunged for Von Miller, second or third. Von Miller was a Super Bowl MVP.
Well, your guy just plunged for Russell Westbrook.
Plunged for Odell, who's a Rookie of the Year, who's a 3-time Pro Bowl.
I do think Christian Wood's pretty good, but he's not one of those.
Exactly.
He's not a life changer.
Yeah, Christian Wood is a good player. Shannon's talking about him like he's a scrub. Christian Wood would have helped the Lakers.
Worth going to the luxury tax for.
Yes. If it would help you a little bit, if it would make you 2% better at the trade deadline, I'm going over the luxury tax.
Addition by subtraction, getting rid of Russell Westbrook would make the Lakers better right then and there. Then on top of that, you're getting Christian Wood. It would make the Lakers even better. It would take the Lakers from being a team that might not even make the play-in tournament or get bounced out of the play-in tournament, maybe win the play-in tournament and get swept in the first round. It would take them from that to being a team that loses in 6 games in the first round or loses in 7 or maybe pulls an upset in the first round if they get a favorable matchup. You know, they still aren't going to do shit, but it would have made the team more respectable. And you guys are trying to win, right? Or are you guys just calling this season a wash? Maybe the Lakers behind closed doors are calling the season a wash. That's what it appears to be. It appears that they pulled LeBron aside and they said, hey, this ain't the year.
Because what does the Bus family really care about the luxury tax?
Okay, Skip.
Seriously.
You know what, Skip? That'll move us up from 9th to 8th. Oh, you're still in the play-in. And you're in the luxury tax in the play-in. Stop
what if it moved you up to 6? Where you didn't have to fight with the play-in, right? Okay. I'm going to say this one last time because you are hard-headed, so am I. But I'm going to try one last time to drive this through your hard head. John Wall was sitting there on the table by all accounts, widely reported that Houston said, yes, we will do this. We will trade you problem for problem, except that John Wall would have been far less of a problem for the Lakers than Russ would have been.
How?
And yet you have to throw in a 2027 first-round pick. 2027?
Yes.
Last time I checked, we're in 22?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, if LeBron and AD, if you're trying to win, why do you care about a pick that's 5 years from now? Why do you care? And with John Wall, at least John Wall doesn't come with all the drama of a Russell Westbrook. It's problem for problem, but you can bench John Wall. John Wall can come off the bench for the team. Or John Wall can accept a little bit of a role because he's more of a pure point guard than Russell Westbrook.
That's 5 years. Who cares about 5 years? You've already mortgaged the future. Who cares? Just do it because it would give you a far better chance of being a contender in the West. I believe it would have clarified it. It would have cleared the decks enough.
John Wall ain't making nobody no contender. Stop that.
Okay, I'm talking about addition by subtraction.
Ding, ding, ding. I didn't even watch this video before recording, but Skip hit it on the nail with that. Addition by subtraction.
I don't even care if John Wall plays. He's a clutch client, so maybe he just go along with whatever's supposed to be the mood of the team now. I'll just sit and watch. He can be an assistant coach for all I care. He can be a practice
So
player.
now he Jared Dudley. You think he going to be Judge, huh?
It just doesn't matter because John Wall doesn't have near the first ballot Hall of Fame ego that Russ does. You know it, and I know it, because John Wall's not considering himself a Hall of Fame player,
He's not. There's nothing to consider.
Okay, well, there you go. So you'd have some...
John Wall in his prime was a beast, though. John Wall in his prime was a top 5 defender at his position, a top 5 passer at his position, top 5 athleticism at his position. John Wall in his prime, John Wall at his prime before the injuries, he was a beast. John Wall at his prime before the injuries, because he was more of a passer and because he played real lockdown defense, you could have argued for winning basketball between him and Russell Westbrook. Now he's all banged up. We don't know what we're going to get out of John Wall. And Russell Westbrook isn't in his prime no more. He's not playing winning basketball anymore. So it's a hard call.
Somebody who would be pliable, who would be coachable, who would be malleable, who would say, whatever you need, I'll do. If you want me to sit, I'll sit. If you want me to lead the shock troops coming off the bench, I'll do it, because he's a clutch client. And LeBron could reason with him, and Rich Paul could reason with him. And it would have been smooth sailing all the way home. And I still say there's enough talent on this team. They could make a...
LeBron really got his boy as the agent for all the players in the league, bro. Like, LeBron has control over everything. You don't think they use that to their advantage? LeBron has pull all over the league. It's crazy. And these guys nowadays, they're younger than LeBron. They grew up idolizing LeBron. They grew up watching him. So it's like he has a competitive advantage against guys because they're looking up to him. They're in awe of him. He got his boy as their agent. It's like he keeps everybody close. The competition isn't quite what it should be. The competitive energy, I should say, isn't quite where it should be. Guys don't really want to kill. There's not too many guys that want to kill LeBron or go at LeBron. There's not enough guys that want to attack LeBron. It's weird.
A little bit of a playoff run if you got Russ out from under. He is the biggest fly in the ointment because he's about as giant a fly as you've ever had.
Right.
And the problem with Russ is he is so psychologically devastating to a basketball team now because I've never seen a phenomenon like this, that he's clearly a slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Just as a solo act stat machine. Yeah. 4 out of the last 5 years, he averaged a triple-double. We thought,
no doubt about it. All the criticism I'm giving Russell Westbrook, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. No doubt about it.
1 year was impossible.
Right.
Since the great
human highlight reel.
Oscar did it, 61, right? 62,
yep.
Yes.
And he did it 4 out of 5 years, and he's not that far off this year.
I don't think he can get it now.
He probably can't, but he's what? 18, 8, and 8. So
okay.
it's okay. Everything's down across the board, and he has done some sacrificing. He's also a complete and utter disaster that is so hilarious to watch that you'd laugh if it weren't so sad for your Lakers.
Yeah, because he's never been in a situation like this, Skip. You think about, okay.
LeBron James is a guy whose basketball IQ is so high that he feels like he knows what's best for you. So LeBron's going to tell you, you go to the corner, you go to the post, you're going to be the screener, you're going to be in the dunker spot. LeBron sets up the table like that. And Russell Westbrook's IQ is so low that he can't really see the vision that LeBron has for the team. So they're just butting heads, and they both play a similar style. So Westbrook really wants to play the role that LeBron makes for himself. So that's the problem with the Lakers is LeBron and Russell Westbrook have the worst on-court chemistry probably of any two players in the league right now.
KC, he was revered. You think about Houston, they applauded him. Washington, when you go here.
When Dwayne Wade was with LeBron James in Miami, Dwayne Wade was humble enough to fall back. Dwayne Wade was confident enough in himself because he won a ring before LeBron even came. Dwayne Wade was a Finals MVP before LeBron ever arrived. Dwayne Wade had a ring before LeBron ever had a ring. So Dwayne Wade was confident in himself. Dwayne Wade's also a little bit older than LeBron too. But Dwayne Wade, he's a good slasher. He's a good cutter. He could get in the post. Dwayne Wade could do a lot of things with the basketball. Russell Westbrook, not quite. He's a little bit more on ball than Dwayne Wade had to be. And Dwayne Wade was an on ball guy too. Dwayne Wade and LeBron, it wasn't perfect chemistry, but they made it work because they both had high basketball IQs and because D Wade was willing to sacrifice. Russell Westbrook's IQ isn't high enough and he's not willing to sacrifice. He also does less off the ball than D Wade could. D Wade's jumper was way better than Westbrook's jumper. Think about all the times this season that Westbrook has shot that elbow mid-range off glass and it hit nothing but glass. D Wade's cashing all of those. Off glass or just pure cash. He's hitting all of those.
Here they yell, no, don't shoot. Boo, boo. Skip, he's never experienced anything like this. I don't know if any great player of his caliber has gone through what he's gone through this year. Okay.
Yeah, the boos are crazy. He's getting booed out in his hometown. In Staples Center, he's getting booed out. That is not what he signed up for. And you can tell by the way Westbrook's playing that his confidence is at an all-time low. And this is a guy who played with all-time high confidence. Like, he didn't pay attention to nothing that was going on. He just had tunnel vision. He can't even avoid it. Now he's paying attention to every little thing. He probably sees what people are tweeting about him, what they're saying about him in the media. I mean, it's unavoidable. These guys, Skip and Shannon, they talk about Russell Westbrook and his problems every single day. So he just has to sit and deal with it.
Okay. It's pathetically hilarious.
It is.
Because it's hard to watch because it's painful. And I do. Listen, I hurt truly for LeBron on this. He's got the highest IQ in basketball. Of anybody on that floor, he's the one who hurts the worst because he's saying, what are you doing?
Yeah, we've never seen Skip. I mean, Shaq has a thing called Shaq and a Fool.
Yeah.
And occasionally a guy will make it. But Russ makes it every night. This is you said he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a top 75 in the 75-year history of the NBA. He's one of the best 75 best players of all time, and he's on an edition of bloops and follies on a nightly basis. We've never seen someone like this as acclaimed as Russ.
Never ever. He is acclaimed. I agree, and I can't disagree that he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer because he earned that.
Right.
With extraordinary, it's solo act
right.
performances, but it is performing.
Yeah, he's led the league and scored a couple of times. He led the league in assists a couple of times. He's been an All-NBA player. He's a multiple-time All-Star. Yeah, you got no choice but to put him in.
Simply the greatest 6'3" and under rebounder we have ever seen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You remember Fat Lever back
in his Denver
days, but I used to think he at 6'3" was the greatest rebounding guard I.
Yeah, Westbrook is a phenomenal rebounder. He gets real rebounds too, not gimmicky rebounds. He actually gets down there and he snatches them from the bigs. He's also a great passer too when he's actually focused on getting his teammates involved. And when he wanted to play defense in his prime, he could lock up. He still could lock up if he wanted to, but I just don't think he's focusing enough or putting enough effort because of what's going on the offensive end.
I've ever seen this guy
yes.
is way beyond in effort and explosive athleticism and natural strength. I don't know how much he hits the weights. I think he does hit the weights, but he plays strong.
Right.
He plays strong in the paint, going for loose balls.
But the thing that annoys me, Skip, is that with Russ, he'll make a play and he'll do this or he'll do that right there or he'll hold the pose. Okay, when the reporters ask him, well, Russ, you didn't have a good game, he gets upset. Bruh, you can't have it just one way when you do things good.
Front running at its finest.
That's the reporter's job. When you didn't play well, when you 3 of 17, and you turn the ball over 5 times, why are you getting upset? But as soon as you make one shot, come on, man.
Well, you're living in the past. That's what you think you are. And he's as self-delusional as any player I've ever seen because he can't see what's happening around him. He doesn't get it.
All he sees is, as you mentioned,
he just doesn't get it.
And those last 4.
And we all have people like that in our lives. We all have people at work or people at school or people in your family or your friend group, whatever. Guys who just don't get it. Some people just don't get it. It's like everybody in the real world sees something and they just don't see it. Like they just don't get it. We all know people like that. I'm sure you guys are thinking of someone in your life who's just like that. I got a few people coming to mind right now.
5 seasons, 4 of those have been ended in triple-double. So that's how he sees himself.
Right.
As a Russ, as 28, a 27, 28-year-old, not the Russ in today's terms.
Yeah, and he continues to make mistakes that a high school point guard would get yanked for in a second.
Absolutely.
For any one of those mistakes, you get yanked. You have to go sit beside
after a while, you get benched.
Yeah, that's
You're not starting line.
Lowest basketball IQ in the NBA. Lowest IQ for any star player of all time. When you think of anybody who has a career that's as decorated as Russell Westbrook's, because his resume is decorated. Someone who's been to numerous All-Star games, someone who, is going to be in the Hall of Fame, sure, first ballot Hall of Famer. All those big name guys that we think of. There's nobody who doesn't know how to fit into the scheme. Nobody who doesn't understand concepts or in-game situations like Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook struggles with that more than any player, any big-time player I have ever seen. So they're hammering Russell Westbrook. They're saying he makes mistakes that a high school point guard wouldn't make. Hey, and that might be true. I don't want to hammer the brother too much. I feel like I've done enough in this video. I've had critiques about Russell Westbrook in the past, and I think everybody's just getting down on him right now and kind of pretty much saying the same thing. I tried to add some insight to it that maybe you haven't heard before. But that's about it on this. Thank you for watching the videos. Peace.